Hello. As many of you will have heard, on Monday afternoon, the Government of Ontario announced that churches will be allowed to gather for worship at 30% of building capacity beginning this Sunday, June the 14th. I'm not sure about you, but I know for myself and for our leadership team and many other church leaders that I've had the chance to speak with, this came as quite a surprise. It really did come out of the blue. And so it quickly raises a number of questions. What is our best approach to this situation? What's wise? What is cautious and considerate of the reality that we continue to take measures to keep COVID-19 at bay? What's helpful for our connection with God, with each other? So many things to consider. And as we consider this, there are three things that we know. One is that for many of us, this came as really welcome news. We've really missed being together with one another, and no doubt it's been hard on the mental health of many not being able to be in person. So this felt exciting. Another consideration is that we need to keep people safe, doing our best to keep COVID-19 at bay. And we also need to recognize and honor that for folks who are more vulnerable or a variety of other reasons, some people will prefer at this time to remain at home and will feel very cautious about all of this. And we get that, we bless that, we honor that. The third consideration is that we want to, at this time, not just rush back to the norm of being the church just because it feels safe and comfortable. We want to take advantage of this unique season to explore what are new and different ways that we can be the church together. How can we do worship? How can we connect with God and each other in other meaningful ways? So with all of these considerations in mind, I have been in conversation in the last number of days. The leadership team, elders met Tuesday morning, and then our council met Tuesday evening, working through details since then. And we have a plan that we're going to put in place for our Sunday morning gatherings. And this is going to begin on June the 28th. So hear me clearly, the next two Sundays, June 14th and June 21st, we're going to continue as we have with our usual schedule up to this point. So this new plan comes into effect on Sunday, June the 28th. And again, before I proceed further, I want to emphasize that we need to continue to use caution and care even as restrictions lift around us. Please continue to comply with the guidelines that are being given to us by our governing officials. And if you're feeling fairly relaxed about all this, I urge you, as a matter of neighborly love, what does it look like to love your neighbor? To err on the side of caution, out of consideration for those who are more vulnerable. The last thing that I want to see is to gather together and to have certain people engage one week and not engage the next week because I felt like those around them have been too lax. So I ask that you would take this seriously and that you would honor those around you who are more vulnerable or are feeling much more cautious about all of this. So what is this plan that's going to be starting on Sunday, June the 28th? First of all, our teaching is going to continue to remain online. It's going to be accessible on YouTube and Facebook, posted at 6 p.m. Saturday evening to watch that night or Sunday morning. It's going to be joined with announcements as well as worship music. Our bands are going to begin playing together to lead us in worship music. So that will be a video prepared for you to watch prior. But then the new development is that Sunday mornings, our oikos groups are going to be meeting in person for those who wish. Now, what's an oikos group? You may be wondering if you're new to all this. It's just kind of it's a Greek word for an extended household. And so as we grow in faith, we want to be forming these groups. Oikos groups they number from 10 to 30 people. If you have no idea what that's about, you want to get connected, please contact me. I'd love to share more with you and get you plugged in. So our oikos groups, for those who wish, are going to be meeting in person. We're going to be doing this at the church property. We have two carports, one on the east side, one on the west side. So there's protection, there's cover, but we'll be meeting outdoors with social distancing in effect. So the online teaching will be about 30 to 45 minutes. And the in-person time will be about 45 minutes. We have 6 oikos groups, and so we'll have 2 meeting here at a time and 3 different time slots on Sunday mornings. Social distancing in effect. The base washrooms will be open, but they will be thoroughly sanitized, all touchable surfaces. We feel that by being outside, it significantly reduces the risk of transmission. There's far less surfaces that we'll be touching, and each person can bring their own lawn chair as well, which will reduce matters. So gather together to kind of check in, share what God's been saying, to pray together, to read scripture. One of the pieces that certainly is sad is that we will not have group singing yet at this time. Studies have shown that that's one of the highest ways in which transmission can happen, is through the projection that takes place when we sing. So there will be no singing. At the same time, we will also be offering the option to meet in an Oikos group online, the same way that we have been via Zoom. We totally get it that for some of you, the best option is to stay at home. And so we want to offer that connection point. You also would do the teaching, the announcements, the worship music through the online video. And then at 11 a.m., you can gather in an Oikos group in Zoom. So we're kind of doing a hybrid model of online and in person. There's a whole lot of details related to that. If you want to look into it, you can go to kzmc.ca/COVID. kzmc.ca/COVID. Other details that we have to share with you here would be that we're also going to be making space for additional in-person gatherings, and this will begin June the 23rd. Now, we're making a bit of an exception. The youth are gathering this weekend. They're meeting with a special speaker, Jason Earp, so they're going to actually do it this weekend, Saturday night, in a couple different backyards, groups of 10 or less. But beginning on June 23rd, our KZMC ministry groups can begin meeting in person, and there's a few stipulations for that. First, it needs to be groups of 10 people or less. 10 people or less. Social distancing will be strictly required. Hand sanitizer will be available, and everybody will be asked to apply the hand sanitizer upon arrival and to use it if they wish along the way as well. Every person will be asked to screen themselves for COVID symptoms before arriving. If they're unwell in any way, to not come to the event. And these groups are also going to be encouraged to meet outdoors. Food will not be permitted, and beverages are only permitted if they're brought by an individual and not shared with anyone else at all. A number of other considerations, and there's a checklist that ministry leaders will be asked to fill out as well, just to ensure and submit to the office that social distancing and safety measures have been complied with. Boy, there's a ton of details. The other piece we want to say, we're going to commit to making gathering options online as well for those for whom it's the best option to stay at home in this time. So this hybrid option, meeting in person as well as online gatherings, continuing for the next while. So this is another step forward that we have in these uncertain times. I'm not going to lie, I'm feeling the pressure, and I know for us as a leadership team, as we talked Tuesday morning, Tuesday night council, we're feeling the pressure of wanting to make the right decision, wanting to find the best way, knowing that there's going to be a whole host of different opinions and preferences. And so we invite your feedback. Of course, we want to hear from you in terms of what you think will work well. At the same time, we do invite you to join together in unity around this. We want to honor those who stay at home, bless you in that, encourage you, and those who are ready to meet in person. We invite you to do that as well with the safety measures in place. These are rich times, uncertain times. It is exciting as restrictions are lifting, but we need to be cautious. We need to be careful so that we can keep COVID-19 at bay. In all of this, there are a couple things that I know. First is, God is with us. That hasn't changed. God is with us. The second piece, God is doing significant things in our hearts in these days. God is doing significant things in our hearts in these days. I see it, I hear it, and I'm just encouraged by it. And we want to be paying attention to what God is saying. So join us in this. May we continue to follow Jesus. May we continue to extend his kingdom. May we embrace the richness of this season, even as it is challenging. Thanks a lot for hearing me on this, and I invite you into this next step of our journey in the midst of our COVID-19 realities. Okay, take care.